I was walking into the studio today, swiped my badge, walked past the security desk, and gave a little wave to the guard. It's such a routine part of life, right? We have this very comforting, very physical idea of what safety looks like.
Oh, absolutely. It's the fortress mentality. We picture, concrete walls, heavy steel gates, maybe a guard in a booth.
Exactly. We think in terms of barriers. If the wall is high enough, the bad guys stay out. Simple.
Yeah.
But I've been spending the last few days with this incredibly dense analysis of a security log you brought to the table.
Yeah.
It covers just 1 month, January 2026, and I have to say, it completely shattered that illusion for me. Because the front line isn't concrete anymore.
No,
It's data.
it is. And it's really about finding the signal in the noise. Most people, even in the industry, they look at security logs as just a boring list of timestamps. Truck entered at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Administrative stuff.
Right. But if you know how to actually look at it, if you
Yeah.
apply the right kind of statistical pressure to that data, that list becomes a story. It becomes a psychological profile of the people watching you.
And that is exactly what we're doing today. We're doing a deep dive into this data set from January 1st to January 29th, 2026. But we aren't just reading a logbook. We're not just going to tell you what happened. We have a stack of advanced stats reports here that are going to tell us why. We're talking ANOVA, chi-square, factor analysis.
We're basically using math to read the minds of the people outside the gate. We want to move you, the listener, from just seeing incidents to understanding intent.
And before we get into the math, we have to talk about the stakes. I was looking at the summary, and the top line number actually made me stop and reread it. We're looking at 191 logged observations for the month. Now, usually you'd expect most of that to be routine, right? Like door left open or something.
In a standard, healthy environment, you'd want, maybe 90%, 95% of that to be totally routine.
Try this. Out of 191 logs, 52.9% more than half were categorized as high or critical risk.
That is a massive number. It tells us immediately we aren't looking at a quiet month. This was a month of active friction. It means that every other time the security team felt the need to log something, they were looking at a potential threat.
It's intense. So our mission today is to unpack this. We've got sort of three big mysteries to solve in this data. First, why is the vehicle gate the absolute center of gravity for all this? Second, there is this really weird statistical blip called the Saturday anomaly.
That one is particularly interesting for anyone who manages a team or, a schedule.
And the third one, and I think this is what's going to stick with people the most, is this counterintuitive truth about day versus night. It completely flips the script on when we think we're safe.
It challenges a very primal instinct we all have about the dark.
Okay, let's start with the landscape. Paint the picture for us. If I'm in the control room looking at the monitors, what am I actually seeing? Where's the action?
Well, the data is super clear on this. Your eyes are glued to the vehicle gate. That's the primary hotspot. The sidewall compound is a distant second, but really the front door is where the friction is.
Which seems brazen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why go to the most guarded point? If I was trying to sneak in, I'd go to the back fence.
You would think so. But remember, this is about observation as much as intrusion. And the vehicle gate is where the traffic is. It's where you can blend in. But it's the who that really matters. The dominant vehicle profile, it isn't heavy trucks or delivery vans. It's two-wheelers.
Two-wheelers, like scooters and bikes.
Exactly, scooters and bikes.
Okay, so why is that significant? Is it just that they're common in the area?
It's about mobility and anonymity. A truck is slow, it has a massive license plate, a company logo. A scooter, it's quick in, quick out, you can hop a curb. And the logs are very specific. We see repeated notes like obscured or unclear license plates.
So they're hiding their identity. It's deliberate.
Or they're creating plausible deniability. Oh, my plate is just muddy. But when you combine that with the behavior, it paints a much darker picture. The reports often use words like highly suspicious and staring.
Staring. That's such a visceral word to see in a data report. It's not looking, it's staring.
Right. And technically, the report flags this as asset reconnaissance. And we need to be really clear on what that means. It's not just loitering. Loitering is aimless.
You're just killing time.
Exactly.
Oh.
Asset reconnaissance is systematic.
So, like, mapping the place.
Precisely. The report defines it as perimeter scanning or fixed gazing at specific equipment. These people are studying the layout. They're looking at camera positions, trying to identify blind spots. They are shopping for vulnerabilities.
And they're doing this shopping at very specific times. I saw the data mentions an evening surge.
Yes. Now, if you look at raw volume, the peak is midday. 10:00 a.m. to 1:00 p.m. That's normal. That's commerce, lunch deliveries, all that.
The usual hustle and bustle.
Right. But if you filter for just the suspicious activity, the staring, the obscured plates, there's a distinct secondary spike between 5:00 p.m. and 7:00 p.m.
Which is classic rush hour.
It is, but think about it from a security perspective. That's shift change. The sun is going down, light levels are changing, and there's a lot of chaotic traffic to blend in with. It's perfect cover for a probe.
You use that word probe.
Ooh.
I want to get into the deeper analysis here because this is where the source material gets really cool. We didn't just count scooters. The analysis used something called factor analysis. Now, I know for some people, factor analysis sounds like a flashback to a college nightmare, but can you break that down in plain English?
Sure. Imagine you have a messy room with hundreds of random items, books, socks, whatever. Factor analysis is a way of organizing them into boxes based on how they relate to each other. It looks for hidden connections. In this case, it looked at all the different behaviors, staring, stopping, group size, and asked which of these things tend to happen together.
So it's looking for the invisible strings connecting the events.
Perfect way to put it. And it found two specific boxes, or factors. Factor 1 is what the analysts called hostile intent versus scanning. And this is fascinating because it shows an inverse relationship.
Inverse meaning you do one or the other, but not really both.
Generally, yeah. The math shows that reconnaissance, that passive scanning we talked about, is statistically distinct from operational probing.
Probing sounds a lot more aggressive than scanning.
It is. It's the next level up. The data links probing with things like unusual stops, slow-moving vehicles, and actively testing reactions, like stopping a scooter right at the barrier line just to see if the guard comes out.
So if I'm getting this right, the scanner is maybe just looking for an opportunity. They're passive. But the prober has graduated.
Precisely. The prober isn't just looking anymore, they are practicing. The analysis suggests probing is a lead indicator of what they call an evolving pattern. This isn't random, they're rehearsing the brooch.
That's chilling. Is the difference between a window shopper and someone trying the handle on the door. What about the second box, factor 2?
Factor 2 is risk and scale. This one is crucial. The analysis found that the risk score, how dangerous the officer thinks the situation is tightly clustered with group scale and something called surveillance sync.
Surveillance sync. That sounds like something out of a spy movie. What's it mean here?
It means looking at the cameras while moving as a group. It's coordination. One person looking at a camera is one thing, but three people moving in formation, all checking the cameras at the same time, that's sync. The insight is, if a critical risk is logged, it's statistically way more likely to involve multiple people acting in unison.
So numbers equal danger.
In this context, absolutely. A lone wolf might be a nuisance. A group is a threat.
Okay, so we have these factors. We know groups are bad, probing is bad. But let's try to predict things. The report has a regression analysis. This is where we stop describing what happened and start to figure out what causes the risk to go up, right?
Exactly. We're asking the math, if I change this one thing, how much does the risk score change? We're looking for the drivers.
And the model found one massive red flag that stood out above everything else.
Evolving patterns. It's the strongest driver of risk in the entire data set, by far.
How much does it matter?
Statistically, just the presence of a pattern adds 0.59 points to the risk score on a 1 to 5 scale. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but in a model like this, that's huge. It dwarfs everything else.
So let's make this real. If the security team sees a guy and they realize, hey, we saw this same bike 3 days ago, the risk level doesn't just inch up. It skyrockets.
Correct, because it establishes intent. It proves this isn't isolated. It's a campaign. The bad actors are investing time, and if they're investing time, they are planning a return on that investment.
And the second biggest predictor was group size, just like the factor analysis hinted at.
Yes, and the regression quantifies it. For every additional person in a group, the risk score jumps by 0.13 points. It validates that gut instincts security guards have. 3 people are significantly more dangerous than 2.
But here's the part that it blew my mind, the myth buster. The hour of day predictor. Because I think everyone listening has this built-in assumption about when crime happens.
The midnight myth. We assume danger lives in the dark.
Right. We walk faster at night, we check over our shoulder, we assume that when the sun is out, the bad guys are sleeping. But what did the data say?
This is the data point that just screams at you from the page. The coefficient for hour of day is nearly 0. And the p-value, which tells us if a result is just random luck, is 0.86.
And for those of us who skip stats class, a p-value of 0.86 means what?
It means this is completely irrelevant. It means there is zero statistical relationship between the time of day and how risky an event is.
So a threat at noon.
Is just as severe, just as critical, and just as dangerous as a threat at midnight.
That is a massive blind spot in how we think about safety.
It's a dangerous one. Think about how we staff security. We reinforce the night shift, we put up extra floodlights. This data proves risk is time neutral. The bad guys don't care about the sun.
It's almost like they know we relax during the day, so they use that against us.
It's very possible. Or maybe just that reconnaissance, which is a huge part of this, needs light. You can't photograph a camera placement or spot a blind spot in pitch blackness. You do it in broad daylight.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
You hide in plain sight.
Ugh.
Okay, speaking of patterns, let's talk about the Saturday anomaly. This came from the ANOVA analysis. Again, quick definition, what's ANOVA looking for?
ANOVA, or analysis of variance, just compares different groups to see if they're actually different. In this case, they asked, is the group size different on a Monday versus a Tuesday versus a Saturday?
And Saturday just lit up.
It's like a Christmas tree. It was a complete statistical outlier. The data shows observations on Saturdays involve significantly more people than midweek days. We're talking an average of almost one extra person per event.
An extra person for every suspicious event. Wow.
Correct. So while Monday through Thursday might be single scouts on scooters, Saturday is when the crew shows up.
Why do you think that is? Is it operational?
It could be. Maybe they assume security is more lax on weekends, the B team is working, or maybe it's just logistical. That's when everyone is free from their day jobs to go do some reconnaissance.
Which is such a weird thought, that these guys have day jobs and do security probing as a weekend hobby.
It is, but the why matters less than the what. The implication for a security manager is crystal clear. You cannot staff Saturday like you staff a Tuesday.
You have to staff for group-based activity.
Exactly. Monday might need one guard watching monitors. Saturday needs a team ready for crowd control. If you treat Saturday like a normal day, you are underprepared.
It's interesting how these practical operational changes just pop out when you look at the data.
Oh.
Let's talk about the chi-square test. Now, chi-square checks for associations, right?
Right. It's testing for consistency. It asks things like, does the location change the risk level?
And the result was, surprisingly, consistent.
Omnipresent is the word I'd use. Most factors were not significant. For example, location. We know the vehicle gate has the most volume. We established that. But the chi-square test showed that the ratio of high risk to low risk is the same at every gate.
So no gate is actually safer than the others.
Correct. The vehicle gate isn't more dangerous because the people there are worse. It's just busier. The threat you encounter at the back compound is just as likely to be high level. You can't let your guard down.
Sobering thought. Nowhere to hide. But there was one significant association in the chi-square test that I thought was actually good news. The link between risk category and action taken.
Yes, the p-value there was 0.0379, which is statistically significant.
Meaning there's a real connection.
It means that when the risk is logged as high, the action taken by the guard is fundamentally different. They're being saved for analysis or tracked, escalated.
So the system works.
The humans in the loop are reacting correctly. That's what this tells us. They aren't treating a high-risk event like a routine log. The protocols are holding up.
That is good to know. Okay, so let's try to bring this all together. We've looked at the factors, the timing, the groups. If we had to build a profile, a composite sketch of the threat, what does the bad guy look like?
Based on all this data, the profile is very specific. It's a group of 3 or more people. They're likely on scooters. They appear on a Saturday, probably in the morning or during that evening surge. And most importantly, they're exhibiting an evolving pattern.
They've been there before.
They've been there before. And because they're in a group and they're returning, they aren't just scanning anymore, they're probing.
So what does a security manager do with that information? What's the so what here? Because all this data is useless if it doesn't change how we act.
The so what is the shift from being reactive to proactive. The data shows that probing is a clear escalation from just scanning.
Okay.
So if you see a group of 3 people on scooters on a Saturday at the vehicle gate, you don't wait for them to do something suspicious.
The group is the suspicious thing.
Exactly. The combination of factors is the lead indicator. You treat that group as a critical risk immediately. You walk out, you make contact, you disrupt the pattern before they can even start the reconnaissance.
You stop the data point from becoming an incident.
Precisely. You use the math to forecast their behavior. You stop looking at the log as a history book and start using it as a weather forecast. You see the storm clouds gathering before the rain starts.
It's fascinating how much story is hidden in a simple log file. If you just know how to ask the right questions,
Hmm.
it really changes how you view the job. It's not just muscle, it's intelligence.
Data is just observation with a memory. If you listen to it, it tells you exactly what's coming next. It removes the guesswork.
I want to leave the listener with one final thought, something that really stuck with me from the regression analysis. We talked about how time of day has zero impact on risk.
The zero coefficient.
Yeah. It makes me wonder about our own instincts. We are so hardwired to fear the dark. But if the data shows that a threat at high noon is just as dangerous, what does that say about our psychological reliance on daylight safety?
It suggests that maybe the most dangerous assumption we make is that we are safe just because the sun is out.
Something to think about the next time you're walking past a security gate at lunchtime. That's all for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Stay safe.